Hikari vs Kashimo is one of those fights that came out of nowhere. Right after we get introduced to Hikari, a Colon Game sorcerer that had only been alluded to once or twice pops around the corner. Yesterday on stream we ran a poll asking what everybody thought was the best fight in Jujutsu Kaisen, and Hikari vs Kashimo won pretty convincingly. The reason we love this fight so much isn't because of its narrative importance, but rather its coolness. There are other fights that are more important to the storyline like Yuji vs Mahito, Gojo vs Toji, and Yuta vs Geto. You pretty much get the point. But the reason we love Kashimo vs Hikari so much is because of how cool the fight was. Two equally matched opponents who display strength near the top of the verse, both with some of the coolest abilities we have seen so far. Kashimo controls lightning that can't miss, and Hikari is a gambler that gains an infinite amount of curse energy and automatic reverse curse technique whenever he hits the jackpot. If you didn't know about this fight already, or maybe you've already seen the fight but just want to hear about it again, then grab your popcorn and prepare to see the best fight in Jujutsu Kaisen. First, I want to say if you enjoy JJK content, I would really appreciate if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel. I post videos every couple of days on different topics you guys recommend me, and I feel come up with on my own. Now let's get into the video. The fight starts after we see Panda lose to Kashimo, and we see Hikari come down and break some crates, and he asks Panda if he has lost some weight, and we see Kashimo turn around saying, "Hey, don't get me too excited." Hikari comes up and punches Kashimo so hard that he flies backwards through some crates. And then he tries to lunge forward and kick Kashimo, but Kashimo just leans back and avoids the kicks. Hikari asks Kashimo if he felt a tingle, and Kashimo says, "Hey, what's your name?" And Kashimo thinks to himself and says, "My curse energy trait barely affects this guy. Combining my trait and curse technique effect makes it difficult to defend with simple physical reinforcement through curse energy. His curse energy output is high enough that he can ignore that, and that mysterious music. This is all so fascinating." Kashimo leans back and says, "I'm Kashimo," and Hikari thinks to himself, "This is Hajime Kashimo, the one with 100 points. Hikari says, "Hey, if I win, let me use your points." Kashimo says, "Do as you like, you're with that panda, right? Tell me what you know about Sukuna if you live through this." But Hikari doesn't respond. We just see this look come on Hikari's face and he says, "Oh yeah, here it comes. Curse energy bonus, it's time to fly." Kashimo goes to kick Hikari, and it looks like Hikari is getting beat down, and Kashimo even says, "He's totally caving. Don't disappoint." But right after he says that, Hikari just punches Kashimo so hard he gets sent flying backwards. Then he jumps towards him and hits him with a knee directly to the stomach. Kashimo says that's not bad at all, and they get into this up-close altercation where Kashimo tries to elbow Hikari in the face, then Hikari just kicks Kashimo in the side. And after punching the ground and missing, Kashimo steps backwards, and he says, "I've charged up enough." Then we see this electric current go towards Hikari's face, but instead of hitting his face, it hits his arm, and Hikari's arm gets blown completely off. Kashimo thinks, okay, this is my time to attack, and he says he's dead meat, now time to pile on. But Hikari just keeps fighting anyway. He kicks Kashimo backwards, and even Kashimo is surprised. He says he counterattacked after that, but it's too... what the... and he sees that Hikari's arm is back. And this is where we get a breakdown. Hikari hit the jackpot with Idle Death Gamble, resulting in a bonus of unlimited curse energy throughout the round. Immediately after a jackpot, the Private Pure Love Train theme song plays, admiring you for 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Hikari never learned reverse curse technique. However, the unlimited curse energy causes his body to reflexively perform reverse curse technique to prevent his body from breaking. In other words, Hikari is unkillable for 4 minutes and 11 seconds immediately after a jackpot. And then we see Kashimo thinking to himself, the music ended and his curse energy is starting to recede. Then we see Hikari do a domain expansion. During the round, his curse energy and expended curse technique replenish. As long as Hikari keeps hitting the jackpot, he can open his domain over and over. This might be the most broken thing that we have seen in this series so far. Hikari can just keep opening domains back to back to back as long as he keeps hitting the jackpot. So he can basically just become invincible as long as he keeps hitting the jackpot back to back to back, because he'll have automatic reverse curse technique around the clock. And right after he opens his domain, we get a breakdown. Since the guaranteed hit in Hikari's domain is harmless, he can be aggressive, and his curse technique activation is fast. He was even faster than Mahito and Shibuya. And we see Kashimo think to himself, he hit the jackpot earlier, which resulted in unlimited curse energy. Furthermore, the conditions of his cursed domain are continuing from the last time. Private Pure Love Train isn't the special time type, it's the probability loop type. Last time he lined up 3 odd numbered 3 symbols. The domain appraised Kashimo of the rules of the Idle Death Gamble faster than he could give up on activating Hollow Wicker Basket. so now he's likely to keep hitting the jackpot. And we see Hikari just look at him and say, increased probability. Kashimo says, you're doing pretty good for yourself, and Hikari says, I am, but what about you? Kashimo doesn't care. He says, give me a break, you aren't unkillable right now. A life of gambling always comes with risk. How admirable. And Kashimo says, but can you say the same thing if you're dead? And they get into this up close fight, and they're sort of going back and forth, and Kashimo hits him with a chop to the neck, but Hikari just says continuation and he heals from it. And here we get an explanation. Hikari is redoing one consecutive effect sequence. For Private Pure Love Train, the probability of hitting the jackpot is over 20% on the first activation, so it's a visual effect with high chances. For that reason, the risk of drawing a dud is greater during normal times, so he usually doesn't use it unless he has increased probability. And then they go back to fighting up close. After hitting him with another knee to the face, Hikari just does another renewal and just heals. And then we see the game and the jackpot begin to play. And after playing the game, 3 6s pop up and Hikari hits another jackpot, and he says, start the music. We see this wave of curse energy just surround Hikari, and Kashimo says to himself, it started. The unkillable mode that lasts for 4 minutes and 11 seconds immediately after a jackpot. That means he has no restrictions on curse energy and fully automatic reverse curse technique. But this jackpot was with an even number. Even if he opens his domain again after 4 minutes and 11 seconds, the increased probability will have ended. That means he won't hit the jackpot again as quickly. If I can get through the next 4 minutes and 11 seconds, I'll win. But that's how losers think. And we see Kashimo just get this wave of electricity around him, and he says, turn up the volume because this is a funeral for the living. For 4 minutes and 11 seconds, you may be unkillable, but I'll kill you anyway. Hikari and Kashimo just begin running around the battlefield, and they go around some crates. We see Hikari throw a punch through a crate to try to hit Kashimo, but Kashimo just punches it backwards to try to hit Hikari. And they both just get into like this Street Fighter brawl of just throwing punches back and forth on the crate so they can try to hit each other. But Kashimo just jumps around and grabs the door and smacks Hikari in the face with it, busting his face wide open. And then we see Kashimo think, curse energy comes from the gut, but you have to use your head to direct reverse curse technique. No matter how powerful his reverse curse technique is, if I crush his head with a single blow, he'll die. So I'll use my lightning to target his head and split it open. And we see Kashimo actually do this. He lets off the lightning directly at Hikari's face. But Hikari says, uh-oh, this fight is getting dangerous. Death. But I can heal while I break. And then we see Kashimo say, as he heals his damaged brain, he ejects my curse energy out his nose. And Hikari says, I almost died there, Kashimo. The time remaining in this round is 8 seconds. And then we see Hikari just start to pile on attacks like he wasn't before. Kashimo says he's getting even faster. There must be a trick to that attack, which means Kashimo can't use it again right away. Hikari is sort of thinking that lightning attack that he has used twice by now, the first one that blew off his arm and the second one that he just used to his head, there must be some build up to it. Hikari doesn't think that Kashimo can do it, back to back, which he is correct in thinking. Kashimo himself said earlier that he needs to charge it up. So Hikari says, I'll go hard and heavy. And we see them just get into this up close battle where he's just piling on a bunch of attacks. And Hikari says, I'm unkillable so I can cut loose and totally beat down my opponent. But then we see, as for accumulating electrical charge, you're not the only one, Hikari. Kashimo retrieved curse energy as electrical feedback along a chosen route through Hikari. And we see the lightning just come across the entire battlefield from all the way back in the crates where they were fighting before. It comes all the way across all of the crates and hits Hikari directly in the side, taking a chunk out of his side. And it says, and Hikari's round ended at that moment. Kashimo says it's over. And we see that even on his deathbed, Hikari activates a domain expansion, and Kashimo can't believe what he's seeing. He says he can still do that. How sad. He's making a desperate attempt to cast domain, but all he'll get are faster spins, not increased probability. He'll draw faster, but the chances of a jackpot are only 1 in 239. All you can do is collapse. We see 3 2s pop up on the panel, and Hikari hits another jackpot. An unexpected jackpot due to hidden probability. Kenji Hikari truly has incredible luck. And then Hikari says, I'm impressed, Kashimo. I've never faced death this much in one day. Thanks to a manga otaku, I've got manga brain now. Do you like manga? And Kashimo says no. Oh well, how's this for electric? We see Hikari shift the barrier coordinates of his domain and he drops Kashimo into the sea. And Kashimo says, but dropping me into the sea is a good idea. My curse energy is like electricity, so once it starts discharging in the water, it won't stop until it's depleted. I can release my curse energy until it's gone, or shut it off until I return to land. But the sea in Tokyo number 2 colony holds a lot of Tokyo number 2 is the sea, so this should come as no surprise. Kashimo standing on cursed spirits. But right now, I've got manga brain, and we see Akari just go to pile on a bunch of attacks. He tries to hit Kashimo off all of the cursed spirits, so he is forced to fall into the water and, burn out of electricity. And we see Hikari successfully do that. He goes up to the cursed spirit that Kashimo is standing on and kicks him into the water. And we see just this buildup of electricity happen in the water. And he says, dang, I can't withstand his kicks without curse energy. My curse energy is flowing out. I've got to suppress it. I have to. And Hikari says, as I suspected, the curse energy is leaking into the water. If Kashimo comes back up, I'll do it again until it's all done. Then we see Hikari begin to throw up, and he says, my breath, my eyes, and that smell, it can't be. And Hikari actually falls into the water, and we get an explanation for why this happened. Chlorine is the first deadly poison humankind developed for use as a chemical weapon. While suppressing curse energy leakage as much as possible, Kashimo uses electrolysis on the seawater to generate chlorine gas. You can kill a user reverse curse technique by destroying the brain in one blow, or with toxins. Unlike simple body regeneration, addressing a toxin requires locating and removing the substance, as well as a higher level of reverse curse technique. Apparently, he can't detoxify fast enough, and Akari just begins to sink in the water below. So now the round ends and he's killable again. And we see Kashimo go up to Akari and say, but it's been fun. And Akari actually doesn't die here, he just blows everything out of his nose, and Kashimo says, what? And we see Akari just begins to punch and kick him while they're underwater. Impossible, his reverse curse technique is fully automatic, so he targeted the toxin and removed it unconsciously. The sea temperature is rising. Is it because of Kashimo's curse energy? I can't cast my domain before the round ends, but once I'm killable, casting my domain will be dangerous because of the electric shock and scalding water. Only 5 seconds left. Should I go up to the surface? And Akari says, nah, I'll just attack. And he says, come on. And Kashimo says, alright, and he goes to reach for Akari's arm. We see a big explosion happen in the sea. Panda's waiting outside and just sees a hand pop up, and he says, Hikari. And at first we don't know what happened. Kashimo comes up on the ledge and he says, I'm out of curse energy, but now he doesn't get to finish his sentence because Hikari just comes up beside him and punches him in the face. And then we get an explanation for how this happened. Kashimo has suddenly released the curse energy whose outflow he's been suppressing. Before the electricity could travel through the seawater, it turned into thermal energy, resulting in an explosion of steam. Kashimo asks him why. You should have been ripped to pieces, and Akari says, you didn't want me to open my domain again because I was headed for increased probability. So in case I somehow survived the explosion, you tried to at least take my arm off. That way I wouldn't be able to make hand signs. I sacrificed my left arm so the rest of me could live. And Kashimo says, go on, just kill me. And Hikari says, no, then your 100 points would disappear. Alright, my points. And Hikari says, anyway, I don't consider this a win, Kashimo. You never use your curse technique. It's incredible what you can do with just manipulation and the characteristics of your curse energy. And Kashimo says, how did you know? And Hikari says, I was right, call it intuition. Kashimo actually tells us that he can only use his curse technique once, and he wants to use it on Sukuna. And Hikari says, let's make a deal. Hikari says, Panda, and they go meet up, and he says, excellent timing, Kashimo's on our side now, but not for free. And Hikari says, yeah, I got that already. Hikari says Kashimo wants to fight Sukuna, but it's alright, he's gotta obey his senpai, right? And this is actually the end of their fight. Hikari and Kashimo leave so he can lead Kashimo to Sukuna. From the use of lightning to jackpots to unlimited curse energy and more, this fight has solidified itself as the best one in Jujutsu Kaisen. Thank you for watching, and if you have another fight you think I should go over, let me know in the comments. And also, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, as I post different topics every couple of days on different things that you guys recommend me and a few that I come up with on my own. Thank you for watching. See you next time.